Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Seahawk Talk here on the Salve Athletics Network. We are live every day from 3 to 4 p.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope through Twitter. You can also catch us on Seahawk Radio. And if you can't catch the show live, you can always go back and watch all of the archive versions of the show on all those platforms, along with the Seahawk Talk podcast. Just search for Seahawk Talk on your favorite podcasting app. Hello again, I'm your host, Andrew Pizzelli. We have a great show lined up for you here today. We have special guests Tom Blaney, Madison Fluke, Sarah Rebello, and Nikki Vanelli from the South Virginia softball team, head coach Bill Villareal from our women's lacrosse team, and we round out the day with Matt Hurd from our women's track and field team. We want to get to our producers as well. They have a couple of great news stories to start off the day, but before we get to them, we want to remind everyone here to keep their distance. That is The Shake with Keep Your Distance, and Ed Habershaw giving us his rendition. We always like to start the show up with that because that is the perpetual message here from Seahawk Talk and from everyone here at South Virginia. Keep your distance, social distancing, hand washing, all that wonderful stuff. We usually have that running at the bottom of the screen as well during our broadcast. Right now, we're highlighting who our guests are going to be here today, but we want to talk first with our producers, Joey Morelli and Mike DeFusco. Fellas, how are we? Welcome back, Joey.
Yeah, no. If we don't talk about the technical difficulties, then they can't happen again. I don't want to jinx it.
I didn't even bring it up. You just brought it up, so that's on you. While we have you, before you disappear,
go
ahead and bring us the news.
Let's go straight into our my story. So I was just looking at news on the Rhode Island news, and I saw South Virginia, and I was like, "Oh, that's us!" I'm like, "What did we do?" And it's actually really good news. We have the fewest COVID cases among Rhode Island colleges. We have had 2, and I mean, there's a whole article that goes into the specifics and everything about like how many tests per day we do and how many students we have. But like Providence College sent 230 kids home and like whatever. But we've had 2 people, and I don't even know if they went home. I don't know. But it just kind of goes into what we've been talking about the whole time on the show, how we emphasize keeping your distance and not having big gatherings. And where is it? I don't know. It says in here, vigilant comes to the type of off-campus gatherings. They're like, they've been telling us like don't have parties. And as far as I know, no one's been having parties. And we're following all the rules and regulations that, are keeping us safe. And that's why we've only had 2 people. And we have all these signs up that remind you, do your health screening. And all that, and we got other pictures. People wearing their masks. Everyone's doing good.
I want to say, was that written by our good friend Scott Barrett? I think so.
I don't know. Yes, it is.
Scott Barrett, friend of the show. He knows what's up. I was gonna ask you guys from your perspective as students. You're the ones in the trenches, so to speak, and does this jive with what you've seen and felt on campus as far as how people have, does this come as a surprise to you, basically? Because I feel like we have all been doing the right things and saying the right things, and it's good to see evidence of this.
As far as sorry, Joe, you go ahead.
You can still hear me. I was gonna say, I think not at all. I think just because what I said, we've been harping on follow the rules and everything, and all the players. I mentioned it every time. The players are always saying, they're encouraging people to follow the rules so that, they can have their seasons. And so I'm not surprised at all, really.
Yeah, just to compliment Joey there. I mean, I've seen like most of the same things when I'm on campus. At least everyone seems to be wearing their mask, and I mean the results speak for themselves in that article right there.
It's all about the scoreboard. Michael, what do you have today to lead us off?
I was going to stick with another local news story. Initially, there was this story from the Middletown the Middletown police officers apparently came to a new deal with the town over there. But just to go more along with Joey's story, the governor of Rhode Island actually is touting some new programs for Newport County businesses. I'm going to share this really quick with you guys. Unfortunately, I can't get into too much detail because I'm at my limit for articles this month. But the governor is touting this new program, which will apparently just give some new life to local businesses around here. Hopefully, some funding to help them stay open into the winter, because we know they're going to need stuff to be able to keep that outdoor dining, as we were talking about last week. So hopefully, this helps these businesses to stay afloat a little bit longer.
Yeah, that's gonna be huge. And the outdoor dining thing, I think all of us in the spring, probably most everybody didn't envision we would still be dealing with these sorts of things. Come the winter. Unfortunately, we are. And the local businesses, I know, especially around here, I'm from Narragansett. A seasonal type of town, as is Newport. Newport still does good business in the winter, but it's all about the summer. They all had a tough summer. Because of restrictions, limitations, all necessary, to try and flatten the curve and curb cases and that sort of stuff. But they're going to need support through the winter, or else you're going to see a whole lot of businesses shutting down, which we don't want to see. Nobody wants to see that happen. So I'm glad that at least those discussions about the winter are happening right now and have been happening instead of, say, happening in December when it might be already too late.
And they've definitely been happening for a while, because I saw I've been seeing that article for the past couple, probably week or two, and I've been looking at it, but it's always been there's not really any news about it. It's they're talking about, or they're planning to talk about giving restaurants money and stuff, but they haven't there haven't been any specifics. I'm glad that we're getting a little bit more information now.
Yeah. I wanted to share with you guys something. It's sports related. Let's pull up this video. I don't know if you guys knew last night or caught last night the World Indoor Bowls Championship.
What? Sounds awesome.
I'm just gonna roll the tape here. I'm gonna let you guys watch this, and then we can comment after. This is basically, I think this is indoor bocce.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say it looks like a tiny bowling ball, so that's weird.
So, but this may be one of the greatest things I've ever seen.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna let it play.
I'm so excited.
There's so much to pick up on here. I mean, I wouldn't expect a court like that to have break to it, like it's a PGA Tour green.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to know if is the surface here, is it curved? Is it angled? Is it something about the? I mean, you could set the balls.
He just put so much spin on it. I think that must have been it, because that looks like a flat surface to me. It might be turf, might just be I don't know, but that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
There's so much to unpack here.
Yeah,
how did it curve like that?
And look too, it's not. This isn't. At first, when I first saw it, I thought it was slowed down, but no, this is real speed, and just this thing is just slowly rolling, and it just starts. I'm like, there's no way. How's it gonna make this turn?
What is this on? Where can I find more of this?
BBC Sport.
Oh, okay. You like the British news, don't you?
But that's insane. That's just
Yeah.
insane.
Oh, well, look, it looks like the sides are it's not perfectly round, because did you see the way it landed on its side? Yeah, so maybe that's what got to do with it.
Yeah, you can see the ball's got these little ridges,
it rocked back and forth when it landed, so that must be what it is.
How you can curve the ball.
It's like a wheel.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, because it flops over right there. But just absurd. I saw that on Twitter because somebody actually, it was Brad Kelly, who's a former South Virginia football player, and he was an assistant coach as well. He now works as an NFL draft analyst, and I think he's an assistant coach with Portsmouth High School. He tweeted out that video, and then along with Aaron Rodgers throwing the deep ball. So there's multiple layers to that, but just absolutely absurd. That sort of. I love these things. These are the things the sports nobody really knows about. It's usually around Olympic time. Summer Olympic time is when you start hearing, or even winter. We don't. Most of us here in North America don't know what curling is. But then you watch curling, you're like, what is this sport? They're on, they're throwing stones and they got brushes. Then you watch people doing it, and it's like, requires so much skill. It's absurd.
Oh
Um,
yeah. Well, we'll go behind the scenes and try to find some more bocce videos if we can.
yes,
I'll
yes,
go look through Twitter now.
I'm here for the bocce content. Well, anyways, guys, I think Joey already popped off.
I'm here. I just no camera.
No camera. That's fine. So
I got audio.
Joey Morelli and Mike DeFusco, those are the producers. We're gonna step aside from them now and go to our first guest, Tom Blaney, coming to us live, I think, from his office in the Rogers Recreation Center. Tom, how are you?
Oh, not bad. I'm actually unmuted this time, so that's a good thing.
Perfect. Go ahead and just kind of give us, what's the current situation for the weight room and the fitness centers at Salve? As far as what are the rules we're operating by right now? Who can come? Who can use? And
everybody loves rules. Anybody can come in. Anybody can use either building. Yes, I've become the mask police, which I'll cover in a minute, but. The weight rooms, either upstairs, downstairs, are open from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Thursday till 5 on Friday. We're not open this weekend. We may possibly start opening the following weekend. And that'll all show up on our bookings app or the bookings website for the fitness center. So that's both locations. Anyone can come to either location. If you literally look out 3 or 4 days, even tomorrow, even what time is it right now? 3 something. If you look, you could probably book a time for 5 o'clock. It's not packed 100% all the time, but we only allow 12 in at a time. So it's not a lot of people, and we haven't had problems with that. As far as rules, wear a mask, not a gaiter, and have it cover your nose. I mean, it's pretty simple. Simple little mask, covers your nose at all times, unless you're drinking, of course, because it's kind of hard to drink through a mask. That's our biggest fight. That's our biggest hiccup, really, is dealing with masks. And everyone has a different view on that. But I think Salve's done a really good job on campus, off campus, walking outside. I mean, I see our students wearing a mask outside, whereas, if you go to the supermarket, people are throwing it on as they walk in the door. So I think we're doing a good job in that article you kind of brought up a few minutes earlier. I guess that's testament to the job that we're doing. As a whole, we're doing a good job. Are there going to be problems? Sure. But we'll deal with them when those come along. Other things that we do have is we do have a fitness box. So it has stretch cords, 4 different levels. And then 2 sets of dumbbells. Is a heavy set and then a light set. One goes up to, I think, 10 pounds. The other one goes up to 8 pounds. So it's a relative heavy light. Those are bookable through our bookings website, as well as using the basketball court for individual shooting. And then some of our cardio equipment has been moved into the gymnasium, so that can be used. We also just added a class. It is 2 p.m. run by Coach Walsh. That will be, it's 2 p.m. Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Don't always quote me on things. It's built into the bookings app. But, I forget half of what I've done 2 minutes ago at my age. As far as working out, I mean, a lot of people and a lot of our sports, it's tough because everyone wants to jump back into it, get going. For most of our sports, I just sit here and I go, well, when's your season going to start realistically? We're looking at winter sports, hopefully January 1. So if we were running strength and conditioning, we wouldn't be starting it yet. It's still a little bit early, and it's going to create for a very long season, especially if it's a condensed season. If we look at our other sports, spring sports, or a condensed potential fall season in the spring, if we look at those, it's the same kind of thing as what are we doing now? Are we conditioning people right now in October for something that's not going to happen for 4 to maybe 6 months? I mean, projections are all over the place. I don't think anybody can nail anything down right at this moment for us, but realistically, we need to step back and think of that. What's more important right now is, for any of our athletes, anyone else out there that's listening, is how well do you move? Is your squat perfect? Can you hip hinge perfectly? What does a lunge look like for you? What does a push-up look for you? Very simple things that we can done at home. Anyone with our Team Builder app, all that stuff in the beginning, the warm-up, dynamic warm-up, foam rolling, stretching at the end. We have that program for people in Team Builder for every single day. So there's something you could be doing every day, and it doesn't require booking time with us in the weight room. The other thing is, is really looking at some athletes that come in is trying to make sure when, like I said, trying to do too much too soon. We don't need to be maxing out. There's a few that can, and we deal with them on a one-on-one basis and, progress them nicely. So a lot can be done. And as far as the bookings app, let's see if I can actually share my screen. Am I able to do this and pull up my bookings? Let's see if this works. Screen share, 2 monitors, sure. Your entire screen. You can see, I'll let you see everything. So if we bring this up, hopefully I'm sharing this properly. If we bring up my bookings page, we go and visit the bookings website, is we have it all set up. So when you click on, this is a new service right here, is a conditioning series with Coach Walsh. And when you scroll all the way down, you can actually sign up for the 2 p.m. on Thursday or Friday. Anything else that's in here, so we have basement weight room, upstairs, force trainer, these are in the main gymnasium. If you want to book those can be booked as soon as, that's tomorrow, so you could book it as soon as 9 a.m., 9:30, and we have it all booked out. Fill it out, put your name in, email, don't need your phone number, address. Try to read this because these are our basic rules, and that's where we say masks are required while in the facility while exercising. Bandanas and neck gaiters are not allowed while exercising. That has to be checked off and booked. You should get an email if you filled this out properly. And
what will happen if somebody hasn't signed up through booking and they try to come in?
We do have a checkout upstairs, so we're checking on people that are coming in. There is a list that we're bringing upstairs. We started that this week because, yes, we are starting to get people to come in, not booking, but we're starting to catch those people. There's a few here and there. Sometimes it's not a problem. You have to realize we're doing this to maintain, one is contact tracing. So why Salve is doing so good is we do have contact tracing going on. It's the thing you do every morning. You can little click it off. Mine actually, I shared my location. So, I don't care that Salve knows where I am. I think we all should. And it's always at home when I first get up in the morning. Second part is we need to keep numbers down because we are inside with some airflow that isn't optimal for having a ton of people in here. It's enough for what we're allowed. We're allowed 15. So for the basement, we limit to 12. But if you add my work study, you add myself, Marcus, or Mike, strolling in and out of the room, or a stray coach, is all of a sudden we're at the 15 that we're allowed. So a lot of it, the rules are basically to stick with what the state is doing. And quite honestly, the state's done a pretty good job so far.
Yeah. Now you talked about the ramp up there a little bit and about,
Yep.
not needing to max out yet. I think we've seen it, people have been watching, if you're a fan of the NFL, guys going down at greater numbers because of non-contact injuries, Achilles injuries, the ligament injuries. I'm sure you guys have been preaching how important that proper loading and gradual ramp up is. Like you said, you're not competing maybe until January or March. This
Right.
needs to be gradual to avoid that sort of injury.
Yeah, and if we really get on the mobility train, if you want to throw that out at people, that's honestly your best place right now to be is, I have kids in there. We were in there right now working some deadlifts, and they're like, my back's tight, this is tight, that's tight, and I can't get deep, and, I need a belt. You don't need a belt right now. There's no way that most of us are loading that heavy. I squatted all summer long down in my basement, so that's a little bit different. But realistically, can you move? I mean, looking at me being 51, coming on 52 in a couple months, squatting deep is easy without weight. When you put weight on, it gets a little bit harder. And just knowing that the movement quality is far more important than how much weight is actually on the bar. So if we're not doing a deadlift right, yeah, you're going to hurt your back. And that could be 130 pounds to me. That could be 275 I could probably pull off the ground right now, which realistically is not a lot of weight. But for me, it's a lot of weight. And the other thing to really focus on, if people are bored with body weight fitness, which I got really bored in about a week and a half and built my own gym in the basement, that we can look at what is our nutrition status? What are we drinking first thing in the morning? Are we drinking enough water? We can look at macros if we need to, but realistically, are you eating real food or are you eating processed crap, for a lack of a better term? Because real food's going to get you what you need. And, we can fight down the no carb, high carb, low carb, keto, paleo. We can fight down that back and forth. That's more of a social choice or personal choice as to what works best for you at the time that you are in right now. And that doesn't mean what I do is what you should do. It means what works for you best and makes you perform your best.
As I say, that kind of seems to me would be the most important thing right now. Don't worry about how much you're lifting. Worry about the quality of what you're doing. Don't be discouraged. And the thing that you can control the most, like you said, is what you're eating right now. That's going to be the long-term thing that will benefit you the most come competition time.
Yeah, I mean, I usually tell them, when you go home, you're spending more time at home than you are in the gym. We can get the workout in. We can get your squat max, your deadlift max, your clean max. We can get all those up. We can get your speeds faster. But that only takes 8 to 12 weeks. Conditioning, 6 to 4 weeks. So realistically, right now, the boring part that no one likes to do is dial in their nutrition and dial in mobility work so that they move better. And then when we go full tilt and we actually have you working out, we're not chasing down broken, faulty motor patterns, which happens way too often, but that's part of the fun of my job.
So you're saying even if I'm deadlifting 300 pounds, I shouldn't eat a whole tin of Danish cookies?
Well, if you're lifting to be able to eat the Danish, hey, that works too. You can talk to Jerry Willis about that one. He lifts and works out so he can eat the way he does.
That's why I got the Fitbit. That's hey, how many calories? What's my caloric deficit right now?
But it's all looking at it in perspective of what is needed for the person. We deal with everyone from the 90-year-old nun that comes down there and works out once in a while to obviously the 17-year-old, say, football player that wants to go to the NFL. Chances are low because we're D3, but it has happened. So, we look at it as fitness, nutrition, all that is a spectrum of where does it fit with you. If you want to go holistic and say it's part of a wellness wheel, where does it fit with you to be well, to perform to your best? And if that's you're playing soccer, you're playing football, you're playing whatever sport, that's awesome. If yours is so that, you get home at night and you can play with the kids, that's awesome too. It's how can we perform best at my job right now? It isn't to lift as much as humanly possible. It's that I can demonstrate everything I ask you to do, So that's where I kind of sit with that fun stuff.
Awesome. Hey, Tom, great to see you. Thank you for coming on here today and look forward to seeing you again soon.
Absolutely. Anytime.
All right. That's Tom Blaney coming to us live from the weight room in the Rogers Recreation Center. We're going to go now to a couple of softball players. We've got Madison Fluke, Sarah Rebello, and Nikki Vanelli. Welcome to the program, ladies. How are you all?
Good. How are you?
Good. I wanted to ask you guys, you've been able to practice, you've been able to get on the field. I'm sure it's not what you're used to, but how good has that been for all of you to actually just get out there, be with the team, and be getting, the softball work in?
The vibes on Topa are just electric, honestly. It's just good to be back at our home. We love Topa with our whole heart. It's weird working in pods, but I think we're all making the best of it as much as we can, trying to just interact as much as we can, especially with all the freshmen. I mean, we have 9 new players, so it's definitely crazy and it's hard, but we're definitely doing our best to try to stay connected and still get that team atmosphere and work hard together.
Yeah, it's really good. It's great to be back. It's almost like nothing happened, minus the masks and the social distancing. But
Does it feel weird that you guys got 2 games in last year, basically one day? There was one competition day. So you had a whole ramp up last year, and then a season doesn't happen. Now you're ramping up again. Is it kind of just feel like you've just had this one giant long preseason leading up to now what will be a 2021 season?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, being a junior, having 2 games played, 3 innings under my belt is definitely crazy, but I think it's just pushing us harder because it's something that we all want, and we want to get back on the field together playing games. So we're definitely trying our best, working towards that, and hopefully we can get there soon. But
I definitely think those 2 games really just gave us like a taste of like what we love so much. Like it kind of just made us like wanting more. So like I think that's why the news that we couldn't go to Florida and our season was canceled like hurt so badly because we got to feel what it's like to play again. So I think we're all just like trying to get back to that Topo pregame vibe.
yeah, exactly of what Nikki said. Like we got a taste of it, but then we also we know how hard we worked up to it, that it was just frustrating to get it taken away because we all just worked so hard every single day up until Florida. So it was kind of disappointing, but it was good for us, I guess.
As you said, that disappointment can fuel what you guys have to do this fall and leading in to the spring. What is the vibe around the team? How would you describe the energy and the culture around the team right now?
I think we're definitely all a little bit nervous, and especially like I said, we have a very young team. We have 9 new players, so sorry. It's just crazy. We're definitely as upperclassmen and Sarah being a returner, we're trying to get all the freshmen excited, trying to do the best that we can and make it fun at practice. I mean, coach has been great about that, making practice fun and lighthearted and definitely keeping like a fun atmosphere. I think that's the most important thing for us right now, just like playing the game we love while we have the time because we know what it's like to lose it.
As a junior infielder, I'm the only infielder that has like a season's experience under my belt. So I thought was definitely nervous about that because we have 3 returners that haven't only played 2 games, give or take, and then we have like 6 or 5 freshman infielders. So I was really nervous about that. But our infield sessions have been like unmatched. Like it looks like we haven't lost a day. Like it's been so fun. Like we're turning double plays on day 1, like throwing on the run. It looks so good. I'm so excited. Anyone else?
Sarah, anything to add or?
No, not really. Yeah, it's great to be. So like the question was how we've been like connecting, like, and how we've been doing.
Yeah, I mean that can be. I could pose that one too. Is that normally you guys have a lot of team building opportunities, and I'm sure there's team dinners and maybe fun group things. What have you guys been doing, or finding ways to still do those sorts of things to build that chemistry together?
Yeah, so actually this Sunday we did community service as a team, which was really cool. We it was a lot of history behind it. We actually deconstructed a rock wall and we organized all the rocks so that way a stone wall maker from England could reconstruct it into something like more. That was at the Norman Bird Sanctuary, so that was a fun activity we did in substitute of practice. It was a lot of work, but it was cool to just get the team like not like close together, but like closer together working on a project. So that was a cool bonding activity that we did.
I also think that like in contrast, like to make it positive, I've never really gotten this close to freshmen so early because since we're in pods, I get to know the freshmen like so well, and I don't think that's ever really like happened in past years because like you're so used to like your normal friends that play different positions, like we're attached at the hip, but I get to like really know some of the infielder freshmen and really like get to know like their background like only on the first few practices. Like I think that's exciting.
Do you think in the long run, obviously nobody wants to be in the situation we're in, but those sorts of things, feeling like, hey, I'm closer to my teammates maybe now than ever, will just be beneficial down the road long term?
Like I said, we all, even the freshmen, I mean, they lost their senior season, so we've all definitely lost something because of COVID. So I think just having that in the back of our mind and like knowing how much we love the sport has made it all just so much better to play and like have this opportunity right now. We're all just making the best of it. And I think that is just a great thing that's pulling us together, like despite everything going on in the world, like we come together for 3 hours, we put in our work and we just have fun together. And I think it's great to just let go of the stress of everything that the pandemic has caused for everyone and just kind of like hone in on our skills and like get to work and have a little bit of normalcy that we can in such hard times.
You guys talked about the energy on Topa. What do you guys love most about your home field?
Oh, the sunsets. Nothing beats a Topa sunset. I mean, it's beautiful. It's open. Like, nothing compares. I've never played on a field more beautiful than Topa, honestly.
I guess I'm biased since I've played a bunch of home games there, but I love pregame Topa. It's like my favorite thing in the world. Like just the music playing and everyone has those like jitters and like the pregame like fungo that we do, and like lately that's kind of that energy has been transitioned into our infield fungo, and it's electric, honestly.
Yeah, it's the best field I've ever played on. I love playing on turf now. I've never done it before I've gotten to college, but it's definitely like such a plus and just being so nice, and we definitely like to keep it well maintained. So
Have any of you ever saw in person or saw pictures of what the field used to look like? I think Nikki might know.
Yeah. When I was being recruited, I did see a few pictures and I was a little like, and then I stepped on campus like right as the turf went in. So like it was still like there was no dugouts or anything. And I was like, okay, this is more my speed. Like this is better.
Yeah, I
You
don't think
guys-
I've seen it.
Go ahead, Sarah.
Oh no, I just said I don't think I've seen it not how it is now.
It used to basically, I mean, that facility is an older facility, and it was basically just dirt. The grass wouldn't grow. When I started at Salve, it was just basically dirt. And so it is, like you said, I think you guys have the best field in the conference, correct?
By a lot.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys out on that field. I know we led the show talking about the news that Sal Regina is like the best school in Rhode Island, only 2 COVID cases. That speaks to the work you guys are doing to be smart and do all the right things so that we can have the season in the spring. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys out there, and thank you so much for coming on today.
Yeah,
thank you for having us.
Thank
All
you.
right. That is Sarah Rebello, Nikki Vanelli, and Madison Fluke of our Sal Regina softball team. And we're going to go now to the head coach of our women's lacrosse team, Bill Villareal. Bill, how are we?
How you doing, Andrew? Nice seeing you.
Good seeing you as well, man. You have got to be, I know, you listed off the things you wanted to talk about today, and it was excited, embracing, excited. How excited? Take me through all the things that Bill Villareal is excited about.
Well, I'll tell you, one thing is just getting to see all the faces again. I mean, you see them on Zoom, you see them throughout the campus, but it'll be nice seeing everybody as a team in their pods, but at least you'll be able to see their faces and have them out on the field again, which I can't wait to see.
Excited to see the players. You talked a little bit about last week, about the situation we're in and embracing it. How important is that? Sometimes you say you don't need any more motivation than playing the game you love. Right. Is that extra motivation now? Because not only is it, we're getting to do something that we might not be able to do, but you have to do all these things to get to play. The game you love is being threatened right now. Is that bring in that extra, motivation to embrace the moment?
To me, it's like this every year. I get so excited about training a new team, developing a new team, watching the younger folks grow into seniors, watching the seniors and moving on to be, productive members in society. So for me, it changes every year. It brings on a new team every year. So I get excited just getting everybody out on the field again and working together as a team, knowing that in the end, we're going to start playing games and competitions and, hopefully have the rides out to the games and the team camaraderie comes out. I mean, it's exciting for me to just get everybody out on the field again and start working towards championship. So, it's pretty exciting to get them out on the field. I know everybody's been waiting to get there, but for me, it just reminds me of the times when I played, and then now you're retired. I mean, heck, it's been 30 some years since I graduated from college, and it's exciting to get everybody out there. I know they lost a year, but you know what? Everybody loses when they graduate. Everybody loses. They're playing, and then they move on, and then they become productive members in society. So, they just have to learn to appreciate every game, every chance they can be on that field with their teammates, because in the end, they're going to graduate and move on.
You talked there about being excited to work on the skills and work with players, and I know you like to tinker. You got your chemistry set out. Are you excited at the opportunity? I know I talked to Pat Cooney about this. The ability, and other coaches have said this too. The ability now, because of the restrictions in a way, you can focus on individual and working with people one-on-one to improve the skill sets. Maybe in other years you're just focused at the team as a whole. How excited are you to be able to maybe work with people on specific things, during this extended period?
Now you can work on all the different skill sets at a lower expectation. You always, sometimes every year you come in, you expect certain things from players, but when you start in this time frame, you can have that time to tweak and peak and kind of go after the little finer points of the game so that they can advance to bigger events in the game. So it's nice to be able to teach them, how to do a certain drill set at a very beginning so that they learn it, they understand it. And then I think they're a lot better when they actually understand what they're doing. And then they have a purpose on why they're working so hard to get there. It might seem, like in the beginning, it's like having skill set training every day, which is great. I can't wait. I want to do the little things productively and very, I'm going to nitpick and tweak it very, very firmly so that these guys can know the little things, and then we can advance as we go and develop plays from them. But every year is the same way. Every year is new. You have new personalities, new players. Sometimes, you bring in the older players. So, it's one of those times where let's see how we're doing. I don't want to make too many assumptions going into it, but I just can't wait to get them on the field and see where we stand, see where we are. I mean, who knows? Maybe this is a time where they can come out and become a starter when maybe they were substitutes the previous years. I mean, last year we've lost 10 seniors, and now, I have a chance to see who really wants to play and who wants to start. I mean, for me, every year starts over. We try out for the team every year, but I can't wait to see who's really ready to play and who wants to become a starter and somebody who's going to be a very productive member of the team. So I can't wait to see where everybody is, and then we can just develop from there.
Which sound is more your favorite, a boat horn or a coach's whistle?
Oh, I love the coach's whistle. Years ago, it was the boat horn, or what I would consider a ship. We don't have boats; we have ships. But for me, back in the past, it was a ship for sure. But I went from whistle to ship to now the whistle again. So I can't wait. I love the whistle. I just can't wait the energy that it's going to bring when we get everybody out on the field again. Everybody, I can see their looks on their faces right now. But the thing there is when I blow that whistle for the first time, it's game on. Like I'm super excited. I feel I'm healthier. I'm excited. I can't wait to get out there and see all of them.
I was gonna ask, when's the last time you twirled the whistle around your finger? I mean, that's the coach's habit. I mean, I know for me, when I've got a whistle, it's just all through. You just do it. You're just walking to your car, flicking the nervous energy.
Well, now over the last couple of years, I use the hand whistle.
Yep.
And now it's even a bigger plus that I use the hand whistle. But I had to make sure the battery still works. I did a couple trial runs in there, and I'm just excited. I can't wait.
Now, Bill, you're the head women's lacrosse coach, but you're also an assistant athletic director.
Yep.
That has to have brought on, a little bit of added pressure. How has it been managing I have so much more to manage with my team now, but there's also, I'm trying to help steer the ship of the department. What has that been like?
Well, to be honest with you, I mean, it's a lot of work, but I'm used to that. I mean, I've been in command of units and thousands of people, so I mean, to me, it's just another version of getting a mission done. So I'm kind of excited about it. I look at every department, every coach as like a department in my head. When you're a commanding officer of a ship or of a unit, and you have departments under you, you're just ready to go. I'm ready to execute what everybody in the department has been planning for. I know it's tough. I know there's a lot of hurdles, but you know what? There's a lot of great people that work here, a lot of great coaches that work here. We have great support from the administration and the school. So, I think everybody's excited just to get their teams out there and get playing again.
Yesterday with Pat Cooney, head men's lacrosse coach, we were talking about some rule changes in his sport and how his sport's changed. Obviously, your sport has changed a lot just the last 4 or 5 years. One specific rule change, if you think will ever happen, will the 2-point shot ever come to women's lacrosse at the collegiate level, and will they have to change the shooting space rules? Because if you're firing from that far away, you're probably going into a crowd of people, so maybe that has to be adjusted.
Well, I mean, the good thing is that I've seen, since my daughter played at the professional level when she played at Boston Storm, I got a kind of heads-on or a kind of advanced notice, so to speak, of certain rules that might be coming down the pike. So, I talk a lot with my daughter when she played. I saw how their teams played it. The whole thing with shooting space. I mean, that's something that is, comes down to the referee a lot of times, his viewpoint or her viewpoint on how the shot and where we are. But, to be honest with you, I think we just play the game as hard as we can. I think the 2-point shot will come into play eventually. And maybe they decrease the number of players on the field. That could be a possibility as well. But, we just play the game as hard as we can, and it doesn't matter. We just go in there and have fun playing. I mean, are there going to be shooting space? Sure. But, I think it's a lot of discipline on the shooter itself as well, not to take those shots, just to get in there and do your thing. So
I was going to say, 2-point shot or not, and if it happens, I know one thing: you will be excited.
Always.
No matter
I'm
what.
I'm excited right now. I can't wait to get out on that field. I really can't. I mean, tomorrow at 1700 or 5 p.m. can't come soon enough.
Coach Bill unleashed.
I can't wait. I cannot wait.
All right, Bill.
Because it's like anything. You get on the field, you can let all the stresses go and just have fun playing the game we love so much.
Awesome. Bill, thanks for bringing the positive energy. Love it. Good luck on getting out there on the field. I know you're super excited. I know your team is too, and thanks for coming on here today.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'll see you later.
All right. That's Coach Bill Villareal, the head coach of our women's lacrosse team and an assistant athletic director here at Salve Regina. We're going to go now to our equipment manager and head women's track and field coach, Matt Hurd. Matthew, how are we?
Andrew, I am living the dream. I hope to have as much energy as Bill does.
I think he maybe had an extra cup of coffee. Or put it right at he got the coffee injected straight in.
And not decaf.
not decaffeinated. You wanted to talk about and we've kind of actually done this with each of our coaches. I don't think we'd really broken it down much with you. But you wanted to talk about track and field from 1973 to today. That is quite an amount of time. And I think maybe we think of track and field as, events that are almost timeless. That's been the same since the Romans start and the Greeks did them. But what has changed in that period of time from track and field from then to now?
Well, for one thing, I think the athletes are better. There are more of them. And because I know when I said 1973, because that's when I was a senior in college. And we had a pretty decent team. I was average. But now, you go to the meets now and gosh darn it, there's some tremendous athletes there, and there are just a whole lot of them. The training is better, the nutrition is better, the lifting, all of the things that sports science has come up with have just had revolutionary effects on the sport. And of course, the records keep getting better. They're faster, higher, stronger, just like the Olympics. So it's recognizable in many ways, but in other ways, it's light years improvement. We're like back in the Stone Age.
I was gonna say I have this book, which I found about a month ago, called "The Athlete's Cookbook." It's from 1975. And I'm assuming probably many of the things in here are the things you're talking about. It goes into diet regimens and workout routines. One of the things I think is always striking, you go back and you look at the warm-up. How has the warm-up changed? The calisthenics back in the day was all right, we're going to do the jumping jacks and now do the push-ups and now we're going to run 10 yards and back. How has that, and that was doing, I think it was on Hard Knocks a couple of years ago. One of the Cleveland Browns coaches said, we didn't stretch before we stormed the beaches of Normandy, so we don't need to stretch now. How much has that changed? Because warming up is such an important part of any event, but especially running, jumping, throwing. How has the warm up changed from then to now?
Well, one thing I would say is that the people who stormed the beaches of Normandy probably had a little more adrenaline going than we do when we warm up. But I think the warm-ups back then were just historical. I mean, we've always done this. I don't think there's any science necessarily behind it. I went to a clinic once where a guy said that jumping jacks were working away from your meridians and they were innovating instead of making you stronger. Who knows whether that's true or not, but more so the warm-ups today are designed to address certain joints, certain body parts. They're designed to prevent injuries. For instance, there are things that you can do specifically for shin splints to try to avoid them. So they're much more specific as to what they're trying to do, and there's a lot more science behind them than there is with the jumping jacks and all the other stuff. Even the high knees, we have a version of that, but it's designed specifically to mimic proper running mechanics and not just getting your knees up.
Now, you talked about, you picked 1973 because that was when you were a senior in college. When did you begin as a track and field athlete, or when did you become involved, doing track and field?
Yes, okay. I'm glad you make that distinction, Andrew, because there's an athlete and then there's a person who does it. And I don't know, I'm not going to say where I landed, but I was a sophomore in high school, went to a private school where you had to do a sport every season. So for some dumb reason, I played football at 5'7", 127 pounds.
Hey, it's been done. It's been done.
True enough, but better than I do. Then I played basketball in the winter, and then the only thing left was track because I couldn't play baseball. And tennis, forget it. So track I could do, simple, just run around in a circle. And and that started it. And then when I was a senior, they started cross country, and I figured that again at 5'7", 127 pounds, my future in football was not very good.
What were your events? Was it just the running events?
I was miler, 2-miler. Occasionally I ran the 800 meters. But it was, and I used to chart. This is how I think I was always analytical, because I used to chart my pace. So on the x-axis, you'd have the time, and the y-axis, you would have the distance, or I'm getting those mixed up since I was a humanities major. But, you know, and then you connect the dots. So I always look like a Volkswagen because I would go charging out and then kind of pick it up again at the end. Not exactly a reasonable or a rational distribution of energy. But, you know, the thing is, you can always, as you get older and you need to do something, get a little more weight or something, you need some kind of exercise. If you have running in your back pocket, you can always do it. You can always go back to that. And, you know, if you played football or, you know, basketball and your joints get a little rickety and you can't do that anymore, and you're good in playing tennis if you're playing triples and you get only a third of the court to hit in, you've always got running. You can go slow as you want, and it still is beneficial.
Would you say you run more like a Volkswagen or a Fiat now?
Well, I had a Fiat, two of them. One rusted out and the other one died, so I don't think that's a good example. We'll go with the Volkswagen.
Matt, we led the show yesterday. I don't know if you get to catch it. We brought up the barefoot kickers as a sports oddity, something that you don't see much of anymore because Sal Regina had a player who kicked the longest field goal in school history. It's a 47-yarder barefoot. Are there any sports oddities to track and quirks or oddities to track and field that, you know, maybe was something that was done aside from the warm-up thing, something maybe about a sport or a certain event or something that you look at now and be like, oh, what was that? Why would any, 100-meter runners with no shoes? What's the equivalent there to track and field if there is any?
Well, I'll tell you, when I ran cross country my first season in high school, I did run without shoes. And all I got to tell you is, I look back on him saying, what an idiot, because the trails might have been okay, but then there was gravel, there was parking lots, and geez Louise, I could have been a contender if I'd worn shoes.
Now, that was a personal choice, right? Was it because there wasn't a Payless?
No, not because I was too poor to have shoes. No, I can't say that. No, it was just a personal choice. I figured, I don't know, running in the woods, like, who knows? I don't know. It seemed like a great idea at the time, which you can say for a lot of bad decisions.
Could that be the title of a book? Running with no shoes seemed like a great idea at the time.
Could be. I can't think of anything because the sport itself is kind of, as you say, goes back for centuries. There is a story. I don't know if it's true, but in the first Olympics, modern Olympics, back in the late 1890s, when the Baron de Coubertin decided after the French got shellacked by the Prussians in the Franco-Prussian War, they needed some athletic contests to beef up the French. He had the idea for the modern Olympics, and over in the U.S., we wanted to compete, but we didn't have any real guidance. So they called on a classics professor from Princeton, and he dove back into ancient Greek lore and came up with the specifications for the discus. And so he told them how much it weighed and what size it was according to these old, ancient records. And the U.S. team got to the Olympics and found out that the Europeans were all throwing the discus that we have now, and they were throwing things that were bigger than manhole covers. So, I mean, maybe that's what you're looking for.
Maybe. Hey, I did a sports origins on lacrosse. Maybe I have to delve into this history of the discus now. That could be an avenue. Matt, One last thing. You wrote in our pre-show form, people would be surprised to know that you're a Pisces. Are you a big astrology guy, or is this just what you just tried to think of something random? You mentioned charting? Have you done your natal chart? Have you charted out your place in the stars?
Andrew, I have absolutely no idea the characteristics of a Pisces. I put that down because I had a student worker here who was helping me think of a question, and she came up with, what sign are you? But
Let's
I do
see.
know what I am. That's about as far as it goes.
Let's see if we can effort this right now. Pisces characteristics. Let's see if we can get something pretty general. What are the characteristics of a Pisces? Below are the three best character. These are the three best ones. They don't want to say the three worst ones.
Yeah.
Creative, empathetic, generous, overly emotional, impressionable. I guess maybe overly emotional, impressionable, or closed off are probably the three worst qualities. I guess update Matt. I guess you can answer that better for us. Do you feel like that describes you, Matt? Creative, empathetic, generous, overly emotional, impressionable, and closed off. I wouldn't say closed off. Yeah, I feel like you're a pretty open book here on the Seahawk Talk program.
Yeah, I would say I'm not necessarily creative. I like to think that I'm empathetic and generous.
I'd have to agree, Matt. Great to see you. I won't heckle you too much about the Giants here this week. We'll save that for next week.
Next week, you're going to have a lot to talk about.
Matt, thank you so much for joining us here on the program. Always look forward to speaking with you.
Thank you, Andrew. My pleasure.
All right, that's Matt Hurd, head track and field coach, women's track and field coach, and the equipment manager here at South Virginia. We're going to take a very short break and be back with the producers to wrap up today's show. We'll be right back.
So you want to be a Seahawk? Let's make sure you wash your hands, keep your distance, wear your mask, and love your Seahawks.
Sammy, no mask?
Come on, Sammy. I know it's pumpkin spice season, but you can't bring drinks to class.
We have simple rules here, Sammy. Get out. Come back and follow them.
You got to take care of yourself and others, even if you are Sammy the Seahawk.
All right, welcome back to Seahawk Talk. I'm your host, Andrew Pizzelli. We've had a great show here today, and we want to bring in our producers now to wrap up today's program. So we'll bring on back Mike DeFusco and Joey Morelli. And Joey's joining us as audio only because of the camera issues, which is okay. That's fine. Guys, I always like to get your thoughts initially on today's program and then whatever you want to close the show with.
Yeah, I really like the part with Tom Blaney, just because for me, I'm a visual person. Like sometimes you just got to see how to actually like book the how to book the actual appointment to go into the gym. It's just easy. I thought that was like very cool of him. Maybe we can package that just to show people very simply how to do it. Because as he said, some people are starting to go in without signing up for times, which makes it hard to trace. So I thought that was cool that he took the time to just take us through the steps and how to book an appointment.
Joey, what are your thoughts from today? And if you have anything you want to share.
I think in general, well, I know actually what I want to say is it's funny because I was going to say, I was thinking after Coach Villareal, and then you brought it up with Coach Hurd about like sports changing and stuff. And I was thinking like, yeah, I feel like a lot of sports feel set in stone. Like they don't really change the rules a lot. But you said like they changed lacrosse a lot like in the past 4 years. And like, I don't know how, but the fact that like they've changed stuff a lot, and then even like the barefoot kicking, I guess like that was fairly recent. They changed that in football, that was a thing. And like, I guess I don't really think of that, but that's like really interesting to see like how like rules have changed. And like, I guess like the newest thing is like with baseball, with adding the designated hitter to the National League. Like that's a pretty small rule, but like, I guess, yeah, stuff does change all the time. You don't really think about it.
Yeah, it's usually those smaller things. It's nothing. I mean, I think if they added a pitch clock to Major League Baseball, that's a significant change. But it's usually, the changes are slow and gradual, and you don't always. Pretty much, I think the sports themselves are set in stone as a whole. I don't know what the next big advent could be to any of the major sports. I mean, things like the shotgun formation, which in football when it first happened, people were like, "Wait a minute, is this even legal?" And now teams run the shotgun almost like exclusively. It's you don't even think about it anymore. I don't know.
What
if you
that
had,
one is,
you have two balls and base. Those are the sorts of like crazy things. You might not happen. Might not know, or maybe you have barriers in the outfield. You add a little element of random chance to the game. Obstacle course in the outfield. But yeah, sports pretty much are set in stone.
Bats are now made of foam.
Yeah.
No, it's like you pick a random bat. Like every time, like there are 9 bats. Like some are wood, some are metal, and then like one of them's foam. And you have to pick one, and you have to bat with that.
Yeah. Mike, what did you want to share with us here at the end of the show?
Yeah, so apparently today I'm going to share my screen. I was trying to make a banner of this to share quick, but I figured it'd be easier just to share this. It's the anniversary of the Naval War College here in Newport, Rhode Island. And just here's a quick little tweet about it. Today is like the anniversary. You see all the way back into 1884. So, it's just to talk about, very important in Newport. It has a very deep naval history. So just wanted to share that very quickly here at the end of the show.
Yeah, that would have been great. I wish we had found that earlier. That would have been great to ask Coach Villareal, being a former Navy guy, about. But that's awesome to highlight. Again, things you just think, oh, the War College. Well, it's been around since 1884. These things that are all around us. You don't realize how long they've been here. I wanted to close with one really quick thing. We've talked about the teams practicing and what it's going to look like and how is it different. Jody Moradian, our athletic director, she joined us yesterday, tweeted out a short while ago our men's basketball team practicing. And if we can go ahead and I'm trying to share my screen right now. And there we go. Masked up and practicing at Salve Athletics with the baseball team. We've got, I think this is Kevin Kelly here working under the basket. There's Coach Foster masked up, overseeing, I'm sure this is, they got the small groups in the pods. And we got Chris Peasley throwing down a dunk. So just wanted to highlight, we hear all about the practices happening and all of that, but we got to get, the visual here of what's actually going on and what it looks like. And actually, you can see in the back, as Tom Blaney mentioned too, there's some of the aerobics equipment. So everything we kind of hit on today, we get there in 3 little pictures. So good to see. Good to see. Guys, great show as always. Thank you for your work. Joey, especially, I know, battling, technology, but still able to.
The technology gremlins, I'm cursed.
But being able to help and produce the show here today, and look forward to talking to you guys again tomorrow.
Yeah. See you tomorrow.
All right, that's Mike DeFusco and Joey Morelli. Want to give a big thanks to our guests here again today. With us on the program, we had Tom Blaney, Madison Fluke, Sarah Rebello, Nikki Vanelli, Bill Villareal, and Matt Hurd. Once again, we are live every day, 3 to 4 p.m. on the Salve Athletics Network. You can find us on Facebook, on YouTube, and Periscope through Twitter. You can go back and rewatch any episode in addition of the show on all those platforms. You can also subscribe to the Seahawk Talk podcast through Sounder FM or your favorite podcasting app to make sure that you never miss a show. Well, once again, for our guests and for our producers, I am Andrew Pizzelli. Thanks for joining here this afternoon, and we look forward to talking to you again tomorrow at 3 p.m. Good afternoon, everyone.